They tryna tell me that I'm good without you. Just stay with the things that make you feel good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
Honda.
And Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are back again to talk about Queen Sugar. It's the season 5, episode 2, titled Mid-March 2020. So if you guys hang tight, we'll be right back.
Busy and where the last one burnt you, know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. So you can't trust that I won't.
All right, everyone, we're back. Like I said, this is season 5, episode 2 of Queen Sugar. The title Mid-March 2020. And we know if it got that title, this is just the beginning of a very tumultuous time.
Yeah, this one will go down in the annals of time. Luanda was saying too, just before the show, how this all will be remembered, down the road. And, I hope we all get there to have a memory of it, but it's incredible. And now that Queen Sugar has picked up on it, they're just going through the beginning stages of COVID, but they are depicting how rapidly that disease is moving through their township. So it's all interesting to see it again, but we're still living in it, so it's not like we can all take a breath and just watch a horror movie.
Right, exactly. And it's so funny how they relive those exact same feelings from how it was early in the pandemic, where it was kind of like, oh, it's just over in the West Coast, it's isolated there. And then it started spreading all over New York, and everybody's like, okay, New York is about to go and shut down. And it was kind of like, well, is this something we should be worried about? Like, it only affects older people. Do we wear a mask? Do we not wear a mask? We know the people that were, in the hospitals and on the front lines needed the masks way more than the general public did, like early on. And then when I heard Nova talking about, well, her and Calvin were talking, and he was saying, Donald Trump keeps saying it's just going to go away.
I know. I was like,
I was like, Calvin, now.
You
heard how all the Black people in the show were so pessimistic, like,
yeah.
Nah, this got to be serious.
They're like,
Calvin's like, Trump keeps telling us it's going to go away.
Yeah, she said, no one was like, I don't believe nothing Donald said.
Exactly. We don't believe nothing that man got to say.
Right.
And then she was saying, it's serious when the NBA shut down.
Exactly.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
But Ralph Angel, I thought, was typical of some of a few folks that was like, nah, I don't need to hear that. I'm turning that off. Like he wasn't. Oh, yeah. He wasn't ready to hear.
And everybody was saying, oh yeah, Black people immune. Black people can't get it.
Right. Black people get everything. Look, we get everything and everything first. So, anytime somebody tell you Black people can't get it, that's wrong.
Right.
I saw that. And I saw on Vi's sign that said she'll be back April 1st. I was like, no, you won't.
Right.
I was thinking April Fool. Yeah. You won't be back April 1.
That's so funny though, how especially early on, we was like, okay, we'll just shut down for 2 weeks. Then 2 weeks turned into 2 months. 2 months turned into 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a year. It's been, next month it'll be a year.
Next month.
Yeah, and we still not done. So it's just so crazy, reliving all of those feelings over again. It kind of felt like it was so long ago, because it seems like forever since we've had normalcy.
Yeah. And some of us who have had family members and friends who've actually been touched by the virus. I mean, I know my family has been touched by it.
And when I heard them, saying how older people are affected, and Darla was kind of worrying for Prosper, I was like, oh man, please don't tell me Prosper about to get the Rona.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't do that.
I know.
That's one of my predictions. One of my predictions is that somebody's gonna get the Rona. I don't know who it might be, prosper, but it might be somebody we don't even expect.
And I hope it's
Yeah.
not. I hope it's not Prosper. I hope they don't write him out of the show with COVID. You know, using
Yeah,
COVID.
that
as
would
I
a-
be
think it might happen to somebody even younger because the focus is they keep saying, oh, it's somebody, it's affecting older people. Watch it happen to somebody like one of them. It could be Ralph
Yep.
Angel or anybody. I feel like somebody is gonna get it.
Look,
And
my prediction would be Micah
Right.
That's a good one because he
The
was all
young
up on
people
campus.
on campus.
Yep.
on campus.
And you know what else? It was so interesting. I kind of heard the preview for next week. It seemed like somebody was like coughing and they were trying to like downplay that cough. And I was like, early on, everybody was afraid to cough.
Oh man.
Because automatically everybody was like, you got coronavirus, stay away from me.
I think I'm still like that if I'm in a store and I hear somebody cough, I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, everybody does that. I know when it first was happening and we were still riding the train, if there was somebody cough, it was like, I know I was. Like,
Look, I remember going into Target and having the cough, and I held it back and ran right out of Target.
Trying to hold it in. You about to choke on yourself.
I'm busting my chest. I ran out of there so fast. I'm like, no, I don't want anybody looking at me talking about get him out of here.
listen, my dog sneezed and I was looking at her. Like, you got the Rona?
And, it came at this whole thing with how the virus is affecting the show because the Charlie is in this new role, like she's into the politics and stuff. She had the conference call with the CDC and they were warning her that you can't leave it up to the federal government or anybody. Like they're relying on local government to take action. And so it was good that Charlie had the foresight to warn everybody that they were at least going to do a 2-week shutdown. But then how it affects all of the people in that town because they are farmers. And and Vi has the pie shop, and Hollywood was just getting ready to open the real spot.
Right, the real
I was like, hold up, they've been watching us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, nice play on words.
Yeah. The real spot.
Yeah, they checked us out. They borrowed the name. Hey, what can we do? What can we do?
Right. But I was just like, yeah, it hit small businesses hard. So to see that reflected on the show too, and I'm sure even more so as the season goes on, it's going to get really tough for a lot of people. And I'm sure the whole stimulus conversation will come up too.
Yeah, and those small towns like that, and it hits them even harder because, you depend on that one shop that sells your tools or has your baking goods and so forth and so on. You depend on those shops, and when they shut down, it's very difficult for them to come back. And so it'll be interesting how they play this out in terms of what happens to these shops, small businesses, and so forth. So it'll be interesting.
I wonder if it's going to have an impact on. Is it Harper? Wasn't she stood Charlie up? She was in.
Oh, Parker. I was just about to bring that up. And shout out to Amira Van. She just had a baby girl.
Oh,
and I was like, congratulations to her. But she was noticeably MIA this episode. And
I think they said that she left in a hurry too. So I'm wondering if maybe somebody in her family got COVID and she was springing out of there real quick to deal with that, because they said she dropped everything and just left, real quick.
In New York, of all places, the hot spot at that time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what that was all about, but I bet it has something to do with, something COVID related. Maybe she has family or some business going on in New York that she had to go and jet out of there last minute, stand Charlie up.
Yeah.
Did you have something to add, Ron?
No, I was, as we were just moving backward, I was just thinking what ran across my mind was that Charlie and going to Micah's event.
The probate. Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Okay, well go ahead, because I can't wait to get into that.
Well, it was homecoming week, obviously, at Micah's school, and he was all anxious for Davis and Charlie to come down. But of course, they were oblivious to the fact that he had even pledged at all. So they are on campus, looking for him, watching his probate. And then out comes Micah. He has, pledged in this fraternity, and it's not the one that his father belonged to, and they apparently have a bad reputation. And Micah's reasoning for that was that, the fraternity that Davis belonged to didn't want him. And so that conversation between he and Charlie was interesting, as he was, staking his claim in manhood and trying to let her know, like, I'm grown, you need to let me make my own decisions.
And I agree with that, though.
I mean, and the thing that got me most with Charlie with that is, while you didn't realize your son was out there, pledging, you were having fun watching the show. It was all good. And then you realize that your son is in there and your face, I mean, come on, let this man, if he's almost 20 years old, it's time for him to start making his own decisions, good, bad, or indifferent. I told my 20-something-year-old kids, I'm on the advisory committee now. All I do is advise, and what you do with the advice is on you, but she still wants to control him. So I was happy to see him step up for himself and let her know, look, this is my life. Let me make the decisions that I want, that's either good for me or let me learn from them.
Mm-hmm. But Charlie is like a perfectionist, and she's so worried about her image, especially now that she's in the public eye and in politics. And with Micah being a part of a fraternity that has this bad reputation, not known for their education, their community things, like Davis's fraternity was very prestigious and known for academics and things like that, and everybody that graduated in that fraternity went on to do great things, whereas the one that Micah is a part of, not so much. So I think Charlie is worried about the image that it portrays, but she does have to understand that he is an adult. I mean, it kind of reminded me a little bit of, the whole Biden situation, how his son's decisions haunt him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what can you do when you have an adult child? I mean, it's their life.
Nothing except.
Well, I was gonna say about that. He also said that he felt comfortable with this fraternity. That's where he felt like he fit. So I mean, what can you say to that? And you see the name, it was a mashup. I told you it reminded me of Stomp the Yard. They're like Mu Theta. So I think that's been combined both of the names from Stomp the Yard.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they ain't stepping on no toes. They don't want the Divine Nine coming after them. But I thought it was interesting too, the interaction that Micah and Kiki had, because they clearly are feeling each other, but they're also kind of like interacting with other people on campus.
Yeah.
And so it's like they're growing pains. It's like
that's their college life.
Yeah, Kiki got something going on with dude, because Micah's trying to get some info, and she's providing little bits at a time. But it was that look that she had once they got quiet, she kind of looked at him and then looked away. It told me she was rather concerned about the conversation and whether or not,
you know what it was? It was, she gave him the bio.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think she was like, "Ooh, I may have said too much."
Exactly.
She said she knew a lot. He's from Lafayette. He said I'm like,
yeah, but look,
we'll see who's she gonna be quarantining with.
Yeah, well, Micah ain't wasting no time. He seems to have plenty of girls on his line if he wanted them.
Listen, going to school as a young person and stuff, and you have the young love. Sometimes it's difficult to still maintain those relationships when you go off to college and stuff. So we'll see if they'll be able to weather the storm.
Oh,
I was gonna say fraternity life brings a whole nother level of attention to you anyway.
Yes.
So.
I remember dating a young lady. We dated for 2 years, and she was a year behind me. And when I left to go to college, she threw me a party of goodbye. She was like, she's like, I know what's going to happen when you get to Howard. So, it's time for us to part our ways. You do what you want to do. I wish you well. Goodbye. I'm like, what? But that's what happened.
You already knew what was going to happen.
And she was right. She was.
that scene spelled like it spelled trouble for both of them. But
That's
the way they set it up, it seemed like it was more Kiki that was more interested in something else.
Yeah.
yeah, because she was over there. Yeah. And he was, I mean, he was dancing with old girl and everything too. But I'm just like, I think it might be trouble.
Yeah, because when he first came out, the first person he was looking for was her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Charlie peeped it too. Because Charlie saw, you know, she was watching the show and everything. And then she looked over and she saw Kiki talking to old boy.
Over there, Kiki.
Kiki was kicking, yep.
Kiki. Yep, giving all that physical body, you know, the movement, the eye contact. Yeah, we know what's up.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that went on this episode was Darla. She had this interview and, you know, Charlie was kind of prepping her for her interview, letting her know that, like, she shouldn't let, you know, her past, you know, downfalls or like her shortcomings affect her going into this job interview. And she was just trying to boost her confidence. And it seemed to work, especially towards the end of the episode where Darla was kind of giving herself the prep talk. But of course, you know, we seen the previews and jobs were being lost. I mean, the layoffs and things like that. So it makes me wonder where Darla is going to end up by the end of the season, because she's already very fragile. Yeah, and then with her job being in jeopardy, I mean, that can push somebody that's in a weak state over the edge.
Well, so, I think Charlie, what she should have done with Darla, because Darla is so fragile, she should have done something like a mock trial with her in terms of, you know, she was pretty much telling her what to say, but rather sit her down and say, okay, I'm your boss. We're going to run through this, and let her run through that a few times, because that little thing she was doing in the mirror was telling me this ain't going to end well. Because
I think it was more so about building her confidence versus just having her rehearse words to just repeat.
That's what I'm saying about a mock trial. You know, you sit down, you pretend to be, you know, you work it out so that she can get comfortable with talking.
I think she was good at the end of that, though. I think she was, because when Ralph Angel stepped up and said, "You got this," she said, "I know." So so she was resolved by the time she finished doing her affirmations.
Yeah, I didn't feel comfortable with that. I know, after all those tears. No, I'm sorry. You know, this will be interesting, but you know, and COVID might save her. You know, I felt that she wasn't ready, and I'm thinking if that thing is tomorrow, it's not looking good for Darla. So
well, I think she got it because the previews she got laid off, so she got the job.
I think so too.
She got the job.
She had a job. I think that was a career boost, wasn't it?
No, she was.
I think you know what it might have been though, because she seemed like especially when she was talking to Charlie was saying like, you know, they already seen what you can do, and she was saying I think I can probably do their jobs better than them.
Better than they, yeah.
But I think
it's something in the existing rule.
I thought she had worked there before. That you know, and maybe I'm wrong. I thought she had worked there before and was going back there, and that's why I think like she already knows. I think she worked there before and she was going back.
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. Either way, she's familiar with the environment and the people that work there, so it shouldn't be that hard for her to just go in and be confident and ask what she wants for.
Yeah, but I don't think you want to tell your boss that you can do the job better than he.
Well, not necessarily, and that's what Charlie was saying. Like, don't go up in there being arrogant, but you know, be confident and be assertive with what you are looking for in that position. Don't just accept whatever they give you if you feel like you have more to offer. And she was saying, you know, like you should let them know that they're lucky to have you, but don't be so arrogant. Don't say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about that in terms of Nova's book and the fallout. Like maybe some other stuff was fair game, but Darla really wasn't, because this is the unintended consequence that you have her having to walk in with that stigma on something simple as just trying to apply and get a job. And so I kept thinking about that. I was like, sure, she'll get over it. She'll be fine. But then I thought about how I think unfair that was to put her in that position for somebody who's already fragile, to put it out there. So she's always having to lug that around as much as she tries to leave behind. Now it's out there for everyone to judge her. So but I mean, what I like about the show is they always show resilience. So you know she'll make it.
Mhm.
But we'll just be privy to all she has to go through to get to that point.
Yeah, and I wonder if they'll have like the mental health conversation this episode. This season, especially as it relates to COVID and how like even the most normal person was affected. You know, if you had a great life before, like people were really affected just by being quarantined, by a lot of people that had to quarantine as couples didn't make it out together. So I wonder how these relationships are going to be tested. Aunt Vi, Hollywood, Darla and Ralph Angel, Nova and Calvin.
Kiki
Speaking
and
of
Micah.
which,
Yeah.
yeah, well, they already on the rocks.
Yeah, there's already trouble in River City there. But
Yeah.
Oh, the kids are gonna be fine because I don't know anybody under 25 that actually quarantined.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, hey, look, I got a son. He does his thing. I hold my breath every time he comes in the house.
I heard that.
But
Yeah. And I talked about Nova and Calvin. Now, this whole situation, this debacle that went down at this introduction of the family. And I thought that Calvin's grandfather was gonna be the issue, or maybe his mom, but lo and behold, the ex-wife.
Maybe the scotch did it. Maybe when he got that, you see how he reached for that scotch? Maybe that chilled him out. Like, oh, she might be all right after.
yeah, this is the good stuff here.
Well, he was just not to say anything, but this was definitely the best part of the show.
Right, because he looked at her a little side eye before she handed him that bag. You might be right, Tiffany.
Right, yeah, it was all good.
Yeah, but good old Haley was about to get a beat down. I mean, you do not attack a Black woman like that, Haley.
She was so out of line.
You did not read the press clippings, and particularly with Nova. You can't come at a Black woman like that. And Nova had that look on her face like one more word, and you're going to find yourself bleeding at the neck. I mean, it was just, I'm like,
oh, she didn't have to. Calvin stepped in.
Hey,
yes, Calvin.
The mic drop. He did. That's why it was all right. Nova didn't have to do anything because Haley had to pick up her face.
She sure
after
did.
Calvin said what he said.
And Calvin hurt her.
It
did. I was like, oh.
That was
I was like, oh man. And I said, now that's how you stand for your woman.
That's right.
Because he was like, no, I was biding time until she would have.
And you know what? Right. Haley kept pushing buttons because first it was her attacking, Nova, saying she wrecked their home and she was the reason that they had divorced, and she was attacking her at that angle. Then when she started talking about Calvin having a thing for Black women, and usually it's the big,
like the exotic
with the big butts and all that stuff, and then she started, and Nova had to stop her right there.
She said, "Watch yourself, Haley.
Watch it."
She really, did the most.
About 2 steps toward Haley, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Now don't get beat down in front of your kids and the whole family.
Oh my goodness! I was she about to turn up the party.
Yeah, and if the
grandma
son didn't
like lower your voice.
Right, lower your voices.
You know what I thought about? When I looked at Haley, I was like, it looked like she put on her makeup and put on her dress and was like, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna be fly and I'm,
Yeah, she thought
it did not work. It did not work, Haley.
It did not work, and she had to pick up her face, like I said, because once Calvin said what he said. It was mic drop.
Stay on the porch and wave.
The big cue is, who invited her?
Well, I think because the kids were there, she came to bring the kids.
I mean,
she really didn't.
Those kids are big kids. They ain't little kids.
I mean,
the little girl is younger. The son, he's definitely a little bit older, but still, he didn't seem like he even was feeling Nova at all.
No.
And maybe rightfully so because she was
a mistress.
Yeah, so
I mean,
less about the race thing and more about the home wrecking thing.
Right. I think it's all of the above. But Ron and I was talking about that beforehand. I was like, she wrecked their home. Sons are usually supportive of the mom. Right. Like, you don't mess with mom with the sons. That and then the other thing is, she's Black. So it was a lot of things with Nova.
And then you show up at a family function and they may or may not be ready for that because
that's the thing. I was like, I don't know. He probably should have introduced them aside from a
But,
family.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why it looked like it was a family reunion. I thought it was gonna be a small intimate dinner or something, but they had the whole like the cousins and everybody there.
But see, that
Yeah,
makes
it was
me
a bunch of
wonder.
people there. That was a
Looked like
coming
the
out party.
neighbors, the whole neighborhood.
But
Yeah, that
makes
was a
me-
coming out party.
That makes me wonder about interracial relationships like that, because you know your family, you grew up with them, and you're not just bringing home a Black woman, you're bringing home a chocolate woman. And so, and you're in what, Louisiana, you know how they feel, things haven't changed that much. Or maybe they've changed, but the hearts and minds of people haven't. And so you should, if you were going to introduce Nova, I think it should have been one bite at a time. You just don't, hey, everybody, and just, because it puts Nova in a bad light.
It puts her in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even if the ex-wife hadn't been there, like that was a lot of people to take on at once.
Exactly.
So I definitely agree with you on that. But the conversation they had later on, that was the one, because I always wondered how people in these interracial relationships have these conversations, especially when it's white man and Black woman, because of how fetishized Black women are. Like a lot of times, it's like a commodity. It's kind of like sometimes they just want to try it out, or something like that. It's like
It appeared that that's all he had, except for what he married, and so.
Right.
I was a little taken back with Nova and pressing that issue. I mean, if he likes Black women, he likes Black women. I mean, you should, I'm not saying you should, fall down on your knees because he dates Black women, but to ask him how many has he had and is this things like that. I mean, he likes Black women. Okay.
Nova tends to, she has a tendency to kind of self-sabotage with men too. So when she started going down that line of questioning, I mean, I can understand what Tiara's saying about whether he just fantasizing about wanting to be with Black women and stuff. But then you talking about how many and all this other stuff. I did think that she was starting to like self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Haley got into her head and she made her feel like, you're just going to get used up and tossed to the side like the rest of them. Like, that's why it's like she really fetishized her and like, you are just something that it's a plaything for him.
But here's the thing though. He ain't leave Haley for none of them.
I know. That's why I'm saying I understood why Nova was affected because Haley's words got to her. But Calvin did a really good job of reassuring her that, I'm with you for a reason. And just like he told Haley, you were just a time filler until Nova would have me.
But that's why I thought she was self-destructing, because she should have picked up on the fact. I mean, Calvin stepped in and he did a bang-up job letting Haley know what, where she stands on that totem pole. And then you could come back later, asking all these questions about him dating Black women. Look, he was quite clear, as far as I'm concerned.
He was.
What he liked. And
to everybody out there.
he said no exceptions. And that meant you. That meant you too. That everybody was just a standby until I could get her.
You see, Haley was coming undone. She started crying and everything. I was like, see, you asked for that.
You did.
She came there to embarrass Nova and ended up getting herself
got embarrassed.
Exactly.
Yes. So I can't say that I was upset. I was glad that he checked her.
Mm-hmm. Her baby is still on the ground.
Yeah, it is.
Still there. So you guys have anything else to add about this episode? Anything you want to mention? Or one thing I did want to bring up, I just thought it was so cute how Vi and Hollywood had their little date night at the real
that
spot.
Was cute.
And you see
that was cute.
I come in there with that little mini skirt on.
She looked cute. How did we have his little Bama outfit on though?
Leave that Bama outfit alone. He had on his little salmon outfit.
It was a country outfit. It was a Bama outfit. But I thought the whole role playing and the date night was cute.
It was. It really was. I love Hollywood, man. I do
too.
He keeps me in stitches. But
he's any couple that can survive the quarantine, it's them.
Yeah, I mean, Vi in Hollywood, that's a good, it's a good mix. I like what they've done in the show with these two. You know, it's a generational gap. Vi is, you know,
She's in her 60s on the show.
yeah, she's in her
And he's
60s,
supposed to be like in his 40s.
40s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I like the way he treats her,
Me too.
you know, and I mean, he sees nothing but Vi. And you know, for all you black men and black men out there, he look, he represents what you should be doing with your woman. You know, treat your woman like a queen, because that's exactly what she is. You know, and that's what I like about that structure with he and Vi. And Vi just has to sit back and act like a queen. You know, because she can be a little self-destructive at times too. You know,
I was going to say that with the age difference and her being, you know, not so confident that he was there for the right reasons.
look,
Hollywood, he's an old soul anyway, so
he is.
Vi is right up his alley because she's just the perfect mix of like mature and still like spicy and, you know, energetic, and she has like this lust for life that she like really exudes in everything she does. She's just a good spirit to be around. I think Hollywood is drawn to that more than anything,
And,
regardless of the age.
and it's a good commentary for anybody, because life is not promised. You know, you live day by day. And if you can love someone today, let tomorrow be tomorrow. But get that love on today, because tomorrow ain't promised to nobody.
True. That's one thing I like about this show. And I said that on my IG post last week when I was posting about the spot, saying that I appreciate how they focus on love, and I just love Black love and different types of love. Like, you know, we got the young love with Micah and Kiki, and then we got the age difference between Vi and Hollywood, but it's a beautiful love. And you know,
Ralph Angel,
Ralph Angel and Darla, Nova and Calvin and stuff. And I was wondering what happened to that. Charlie was seeing somebody too last season. It was the Hispanic guy. What happened to him?
Yeah, I forget his name.
They found out about her and hiring those workers that died on the farm, I think.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That died during the storm that they had workers.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All right.
So they cut her loose. So, you know.
Well,
okay.
I need Charlie to get a love interest.
It's gonna be some work.
No, I liked her with well, what's it called? Until they start tripping. One who left town.
Oh yeah.
Remy.
Yeah, Remy. But I think Remy was too slow for her. And
he was, but Remy blew it when he started tripping about the Nova thing.
Yeah, he was tripping.
I'm gonna tell you, you know what? I like Davis for Charlie. I know they had a problem, you know, or at least he had a problem.
Tiffany's face is like,
I mean, I know he had a problem.
About to go into the ghost.
No. No, I'm not saying that Charlie made a mistake. You know, I mean, she had to bounce him. I mean, you know, you can't be running around doing all like that. But I'm just talking about character-wise. They look like they could be a good fit, you know. And I think
he's grown. The
question is, has she seen it? And if she does see it, you know, would she be willing to give him another shot?
So could Micah, you know, their meetup at the college rekindle some things? Maybe they talk on the next episode.
No, it's gonna take a lot.
He helped them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. Because I was going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. It's gonna take a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, I enjoyed this episode. I think it's a good preview of probably what we're going to see this season. And I think we kind of threw out our predictions already in terms of what we think is going to be in the forecast for the rest of the season. And if we can't think about it for the show, we know how our own lives played out. So I'm thinking they're going to probably mimic that.
Right.
At least you appreciate the realism in the show, the storyline, because it's not like they're happy-go-lucky while all of us are still at home in COVID. Right. So I appreciate the fact that, you know, they have a dose of realism in it.
Okay. Well, you guys want to add anything before I close?
Do not kill Prosper.
Oh,
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Protect, prosper at all costs.
indeed.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. We definitely appreciate your viewership. Please make sure you subscribe to our page and click the notification bell so that you get alerted every time we post. We will continue doing Queen Sugar, and then following that, we'll be back with more recaps of all of the favorite shows that come on. If you have any suggestions of things that you would like recapped, you can always drop that in the comments and let us know what you thought about Queen Sugar, this season 5, episode 2. And also, we are going to do our video answering questions. So please hang tight. We are putting that together. So that'll be on the way soon. We will give you a little peek into us as individuals so you can learn a little bit more about us. So that's in the pipeline.
And one more thing, let's all give prayers out to Tiger Woods. As we understand it, he was involved in a single car accident. That car is mangled, and so we know. I think at this point that he may have, I think he went to surgery on his legs or something. Not sure all of what.
Mhm.
But let's just keep a prayer up for Tiger Woods. He's been through a lot.
Yes. All right. Well, if no one has anything else to add, I think we will close out, call it a night, and we'll see you all next week.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
They tryna tell me that I'm good without you. Just stay with the things that make you feel good. But I don't see it saving me. Pretty on a shelf, it's clear to see that I can see right through it. Looking so translucent, being